car noise is a little loud, but you can still hear me, so I do recognize and understand. It's just that, you know, I spend about 3 hours round trip twice a week in a car, and it's just easier to get all the content in my head out versus waiting for a nice time I can sit in my office and do it, because sometimes at the end of the night I'm just tired and it doesn't get out, or there's other things I have to do, or there's a class I have to do. So just bear with me, but a lot of them are going to be through this. But I think the people who have something to gain from me generally do not mind. So work with me until I can do this full time. So I wanted to talk today about the importance of your ancestors, and with my experience, the roles they played that other people and other spiritual beings could never take the place of. But before I do that, I just want to say I'm Lisa Phillips. I'm an angelic channeler, medium, but I also channel my ancestors, archangels, other mythical beings. I'm a healer. I do journeys, spiritual journeys with these beings. You know, I've been through soulmate relationships. I've been through twin flame relationships. I've just been on a very accelerated spiritual growth path after I accomplished one of my missions here, which was to help bridge the gap between poverty and prosperity for people in my community, the melanated community, which in my real estate investing channel, you see that very prominently. That was one of the missions I had here, to be that person. And the accelerated growth came about in 2016, where it was just like time for me to wake up, because, you know, I have another purpose, which is to use my soul truths, which is being a magician, being a spiritual warrior, you know, being a healer, is part of the Ascension process, is part of what we're doing. So I am the kind of person, I am deeply into service to the community, to humanity, to Gaia, lifting people up. That's what I'm all about. That is in my DNA. And I've been doing a lot of work. So speaking of DNA, that's where the ancestors came in on the activations. But that's what I do. I just finished 2 classes over the last 2 weeks. One was How Magic Works. I'll put a link to that if you want to do it. It's been amazing. And I had people who went from that class who went to my second workshop, which is Introduction to Channeling. I don't know if there's going to be a part 2. You know, if I learn something, if I do a part 2, it'd be like adding clairvoyance to it, as I'm developing that skill at a rather good enough rapid pace. But for right now, it's just going to be Intro to Channeling. And that was fun because I attract pretty advanced spiritual practitioners. So there are people there who are already channeling, and what I help them either refine, validate it, maybe gave information around a subject. So it was very cool, because even at the end, we talked for an hour and a half just on like, hey, what's your method? What have you learned? Divine feminine, divine masculine, because we're all on this journey and we're all dedicated practitioners. So that's the kind of people I love to be around, because we each made each other stronger and sharper. I was the teacher, but, you know, the 5 people who were in the workshop were also my teachers as well. You know, so that is the kind of vibe. I'm happy, you know, as I start doing more workshops, I'm going to get to know you guys more intimately as I answer more questions and talk to you guys. But, you know, when you do this, it really starts shaping up. Who are you attracting? Who are your people? Who's your tribe? And I already love, because in my real estate investing platform, and even this, I'm finding that my tribe they are leaders themselves, and they're refining their leadership and crafts. And so I talk to people who have their crap together. Like, they're not new to this, right? Or they are, but like there's something in them that knows this is serious. And it's nice, because when it comes to spirituality and the work we're doing now, so much of this has gotten lost or wasn't in the matrix of programming, that you only really get it through that, you know, Socratic method of sitting around and just talking. And so that is going to be a large part of our workshop. So if you want to join, so I'll put links to those if you guys want to take the class at a later time. It is for purchase. I haven't figured out what price, but it's going to be something reasonable. I think the magic one, I don't know. I don't know if I want to just give anybody the magic tools. But the feedback I got was that it was really good for beginners. And it made it very doable and easy, and they're already seeing results. So yeah, I think I might keep that one accessible. But if I do other magical workings, they're going to be at a higher level, because I want to make sure that the person getting it deserves and is worthy and has merit. I honestly might even test you, because I don't want some dark mage taking my information and using it for evil, which always happens in the movies. So yeah, so those links will be posted below when I get a chance to post them. So So, today, ancestor work. Yes, the importance. So my experience doesn't come from reading books. I didn't read the Course of Miracles, haven't seen The Secret. And I sort of do that deliberately sometimes. I don't care what mainstream is. I don't want that in my head, because if I want truth to come from on high, right? So you'll hear a lot of people who do that, and we just like to keep ourselves clean for certain things. And other things we're more than that I'm not as strong in. I'm, more than happy to read all the books that I can to go further. And ancestors have been so interesting, because from 2016 to now, I've been working on these channeling skills and guidance and spiritual growth. But I started out with archangels, and when I started with them, I was doing healings every day, every week, and they were like to clear my crown chakra, balance, upgrade my energy, take me to the next level, help me with manifestation, help me, meeting different spirit guides, cleaning, raising vibration, raising frequency, being able to sacred jam and be able to hold a higher frequency. There's work you do to be able to hold a higher frequency. There's energetic work you do to be able to hold a higher frequency. So I would have really high doses energetic sessions that would take me to a next level so I can hold a higher frequency. And it takes work and cleansing and raising your vibration and frequency to do it. And that was really good on the start of my spiritual path and growth. Now, when it comes to who I am and everything I've done since then, which really revolves around my magician and my magic skills, for the reason why I taught a class that no one else is teaching and that no one else knows about and no one else is talking about. That came from two places. And but I really want to focus. One was Merlin. So doing a daily energy healing and activation with Merlin, little by little opening up my magical abilities when it comes to the plant life, elemental life, and all that was instrumental. But more, like, I don't even know, more or less equally, I honestly can't tell at this moment, was my ancestor work. Because Merlin I work with, and there are specific things I did in past lives with Merlin that are encoded in my DNA. There are specific magical skills and abilities I did with Merlin that I am uncovering. It takes time. Every time I sit with Merlin, it's 10 to 15 minutes. I do it once a day. We uncover, untap. Sometimes I do it twice a week, sometimes 0 times a week, sometimes 3 times a month, sometimes 7 times a month, right? But it's this process of specific Merlinite skills that I'm uncovering from past lives and that mastery in past lives. And I'm like, I don't need to do the track. I already did the track. I just need to activate and open up the blueprint, which I see in my magic, which is why, when I taught my magic class, I had such a more fundamental understanding of what's going on, because I actually can interact with these beings and these elementals and plants and understand how the pass off is going. But the other half is the ancestors. With them, oh my goodness, they know me. They know my DNA. We share DNA. I did the ancestral trauma healing, which I actually put on for free. You can pay someone to do it. It's good. I'm powerful though, so if you do mine, it's powerful. So even if you're not, you're going to feel something. And if you are at a high level, you'll feel a lot, right? So you do it with anyone, you'll be fine. You do it with me, it cleanses, it clears. But it was the first time I was able to meet my ancestors doing that ancestral trauma clearing. And the intention was to clear not only my trauma, but all the ancestors' trauma. It really is, or was, a gift to the ancestors. It is for you because it benefits you, but it was really for them. So they stepped forward, and my first questions were them like, oh wow, hi, what happened? Where were you all this time? And I got a response that because of their past trauma, they couldn't step forward on the spiritual realm the way they would have liked to. I remember the day I did that healing, I talked to my sister the next day. She was like, I had a dream that something big happened, right? And I was telling her about it. She was like, yeah, I didn't know what it was, but it was big. She's very, very intuitive as well. So there's 4 of us in our family of 9 people who are very intuitive. Me, my brother, my mom, my sister. And she's the one that had the dream, okay? But she's even more intuitive than me, but she doesn't practice, so it doesn't matter. But she's more connected. And so I found that out during the clearing, and then I go, hey, how can I work with you? How can I interact? Can I ask you guys for protection? yes. Manifesting, yes. Knowledge, yes. Ascending, yes. Energy work, yes. Healing, yes. I was like, okay. So, you know, if you look at my ancestral video, I'm like, ask them what they're there for. But they said yes on all accounts. And before that, my interactions were the angels were doing all of that at all accounts. And so the next 3 months after that, I did ancestral money offering. If you want, I'll do a little video on it. I mean, there's ones on the net. So I just did one every day. I've covered in some hydron oil or frankincense and myrrh oil. Did it for all lineages, known and unknown, direct and indirect, full merit and value of the ancestor money I had. I invested like $300 in ancestor money, but I don't know. I think it really shows. So you can invest, like, if you have $20, invest the 20, right? If you have 30, invest the 30. But if you have 100, do 100 for over 3 months, even if it's just one bill a day. And so they went from very faint to strong. So I saw it. I saw that ancestral money and the offerings. I saw it go from weak signal to strong signal. Now, I don't know if they're as strong as my dragons when it comes for protection, but I know whenever I've asked them for protection, it happened. You ain't touching me. You want to try it? They're warrior women, okay? We're not love and light over here. We are Kemet, ancient Kemet. We're magicians. We're protector magicians. We fight with magic, sometimes with our hands. So they went from very faint to super strong black women. You know I love it, right? And so that's been the evolution. And the reason I'm going into this is because the work that I'm doing with them, no one else is doing, no one else is talking about. I can open up a mystery school today with just what they've taught me. And every single thing they did, I was working with the angels for all this time, and I love them and acknowledge them. But the reality is the ancestors were like, no, you're going to the sacred knowledge that you have once held in your previous lives. You're going into this. You're going into this. You're going into this. I've touched Mayan. I've touched ancient Egypt. I've touched Earth. I've touched Gaia type activations and magic that I had known in the past. I have touched sacred geometry. I have touched crystals. I have touched so many different aspects, and they walk me through it. So I'll go, hey, what is the healing today? You need to do 10 sessions connecting this, or clearing your energy, or we're going to clear up past this, or we're going to do this. I don't need anyone else. Through them, they are my guides, okay? Through them, they let me know today you're working on activating this because this is what you need for your highest good. Now, the reason I went over the first part of the ancestors and what I did to empower them is because, you know, it's a feedback loop. It is worth, and I'm not that good at like doing offerings. I've been working with the angels for 4 years, and I just gave my first offering like now. I'm like, what are y'all? I'm supposed to do that? I thought you were just here to help me. So I'm not the best, okay? That's why I only deal with high integrity people. I'm actually going to talk about that in my next video on spiritual gatekeepers who are like, you must do an offering. There's nuance to that, and I was asking about it. But, you know, I did it, but with, and, you know, they're still here for me. They still show up every single time. If, you know, none of them have refused to work with me. Every single time I ask, I receive. So we've been working together. They were a big part of my growth. I asked my other guys about it too, but with my ancestors, it was worth doing that work. And coming as a melanated person in this country, we all have to do it. We have our trauma right on the tip of our nose. It's in our DNA. It is there. If you're not doing the work, it's like, why not? And to know that you can spiritually do it on their behalf and clear their trauma, think about it. They sacrificed a lot. They put up with a lot of crap to get you here. Because a lot of people jumped off the ship and just died, okay? They took it so that you could be here. To me, I think the minimum you can do is like 1 15-minute clearing on the spiritual level so that their spiritual and afterlife is better than it was because you took the time. I mean, just on the base level. But experiential level, my experience is you do make them stronger. Making them stronger only makes you stronger. And so, point blank, out of all the people I work with, the angels weren't telling me to do sacred geometry and this Mayan thing and getting to serpent mythology and learning what that meant and opening up my kundalini, and like it goes on and on and on and on. Those are my ancestors who have done magic, who are warriors. So I'm a magic warrior, healer, teacher. like, no, you need this. This is in your DNA, helping me activate it. When I say I'm like at 18, 19%, because I'm actually going at a really accelerated rate right now. Because, you know, when you have spiritual guides as your teacher, you go fast. When you can ask a question, you go fast. When the only thing that stops, you know, I mean, I don't need to go to a priestess. I don't need to go to anybody. I can go straight to the source to ask a question, you know, which is why, you know, I'm talking about my channeling class if you want to learn. But because of that, you just go at a rapid pace, you know, like you go directly to your ancestors who know your higher self, they know your ego self, and they're like, no, we need to do this first, then this, then this, then this, then that. I don't need to know anything, okay? Now, I find out through experience what I got, okay? But, you know, they definitely, they know what no one else in the spiritual community knows about you. They know what your path and purpose is and what you need to activate. And out of all this time I spent, so even the Merlinite path that I'm on, and I really get the feeling that certain spiritual beings are all knowing, but like they really are different, because what I do with Merlin, the angels didn't tell me that, and my ancestors don't. It's completely different. It's almost like you got to understand everyone has different agendas, right? Angels want to help everyone just ascend spiritually, and of course no sense of self. But they're not going to go all up deep into your life like that. Your ancestors want you to truly activate who you are from your past lifetimes, for who your lineage is. So that's what they're focused on. Merlin's not telling me to go into all these other things that my ancestors tell me on. They're like, Merlinite path. You took this path. You mastered this path. And so with that, we want you to do the Merlinite stuff, which is completely different than the stuff that I do with my ancestors. So when I taught that How Magic Works class, I was definitely coming from multiple schools of activated energetic magic knowledge. And yes, even today, I'm actually going to start upping my working with both, because if I do the work, I receive. So it's just, you know, that's how it goes. But you really start to learn that they all have their different niche, right? And, you know, I work with so many, I got the experience. I work with dragons, I work with fairies, I work with, you know, I work with everybody. You really start understanding, oh, they're focused here, they're focused on this, they're focused on this. And what I'm telling you, out of all those people who are great, if you just focus just on your ancestors and not on the angels and not on any path you might have taken, or working with Oshun, or, you know, and just your ancestors alone, you will be given knowledge about your true self, your DNA activations to a much higher level. But the things that you need to know to be your true self, the impersonification. So I work with the Merlinite and angels. They're helping me build myself, but not they're helping me build around it, but not this is your true self to be expressed in this lifetime. This is your true spiritual self to be expressed with all the infinite powers. You being a spark of God really means. Someone in my workshop called God or Source, like, she was interesting. Her partner channels Melchizedek, and like he calls God or Source the oneness of the oneness of the oneness of the oneness, right? So we're a part of the oneness 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 of the oneness. That's why it's a circle. It just keeps going. Thank you, Samantha, for that. Yeah, and so what I'm saying is that they all have their different things. They're all extremely helpful, and I love all of them. Even John the Conqueror, he helped me with money and like being dominant and like understanding I had power. But even then, like the ancestors are the one that's like, this is your higher self, this is your embodiment, this is your truth. You need to embody that at the highest level. And if you ever want to really delve into that, no one else really outside of your higher self, no one else really is going to go into that. Okay? And if I had no one else, just my ancestors, I'm going to be a very powerful being. They are going to walk me through every aspect of everything that I had forgotten, but it's in my DNA, and make sure I activate it as far as expressing what my spiritual self is with all the power and might that it can do. And I'm not going to stop the other teachings I do with other people, but if I had to choose one that was the most impactful at my truth, I would say it's the ancestors. So it's not this idle thing. It's not something that's cute to talk about. On this land in America, when it comes to spiritual ascension, I don't know. I think I don't say this lightly. I think it's a requirement. Like, I don't know how far you're gonna get without doing that work. But it's amazing when you do it, but it's on behalf of your whole family. And, a lot of people talk about ancestors, but just seeing the difference that they as spiritual beings and my guides, man, even my guardian angels weren't doing this, right? Like, but this is who I truly am. What the work they do with me is who I am at the spiritual level. What the work they do is like your spirit fully coming into this 3D life. That's like an amazing thing. And half the stuff they tell me to do, I'm like, what? Serpents? What are we doing with serpents today? What? My energy leaks throughout all space and time? You're gonna help me with my energy leak through all space? Just different things that they bring up to me. I was like, didn't even know it was an issue, right? But they're like, no. I'm, going into Mayan, and I'm gonna ask them about if I know I was in the Hermetic school because I was with High John the Conqueror in ancient Egypt in one of our lifetimes, which is why I had such an affinity with them, because we're both like smart go-getters, impressive, we work together. And so when I met him in this lifetime, I was like, I feel like I know you. Like, we're friends. And Angel said, yes, you actually did work together as people, as physical people. So you had a great bond going through the mystery schools. But I'm going to see exactly if they're, what order will I be doing the Hermetic traditions, or if that's later, if there are other things. Because right now they're leading me through some things that are sort of, I guess, easier to obtain, but there's a process behind it. There's cleansing, there's cleaning, there's remembering, there's gathering. And I'm going to ask them, like, when are we going to do that? Because, I would like to activate the Hermetic traditions that I have. This is the power of your ancestors. And like I said, I was with the angels for much, much longer with Merlinite, but they have their own agendas. Your and yourself, that's with the ancestors. That is why it's so important. I hope you really understand. No one else will know or guide you to that level of truth like your ancestors will. Okay? And empowering them and clearing their trauma is part of it. Breaking generational curses is part of it. So I've done that on behalf of myself and the ancestors. And that training, you can get that healing too. It's underneath the ancestral trauma one. Like, worth it. So I'll end on that. I hope you understand the seriousness. If you like what I'm saying, hit the subscribe button and smash that like button. So let the cool kids say. I have so many more videos I gotta get out on what's going on, what I've channeled, the ancestral energy healing. But thank you so much for being on this journey with me. There's a lot of healing I had to do myself, but I found once you heal yourself, you can help heal others. So if there's any healing or perspective that you get that helps in your journey, just know that it was hard won, hard fought, a lot of drama and a lot of mistakes to get to it. But I was guided, got through it. So I hope that the information and work that I put into it can give you some level of calmness. We don't have to live in fear anymore, and just sort of helping you to see that we have the answers and how I do it in my way, and hopefully that helps you in your way. All right, thank you so much. Bye.